have an hour or so to share a little bit in this beautiful setting. And the idea is to open for any questions you may have, any topics you may like to explore, anything you feel deserves a little bit more attention in your life, in your journey. I don't like generally to use the word Q&A, questions and answers. I like Q&E, quest and exploration. Because answer sounds to me a little bit conclusive. And you can never say enough about that. And quest is, we are on a journey, right? It's a journey of ongoing exploration. So, is there anything you would like to ask, to share, to bring to the table today? Prema Mayurada, right? Yes.
You. Yesterday you said that Krishna consciousness is experiential. Yeah. And
I mean, Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita.
And Krishna is not measurable.
Okay.
But how can we maybe measure if what is real realization or real experience, what we know without knowing the knowledge? Or how can I, even if I learn Bhagavad Gita by heart, it does not mean I know who Krishna is, or it does not mean he revealed himself to me. So how can I say, this is what I know about Krishna consciousness for sure? Like for myself, I know about gunas, but not about Krishna, really. This is, yeah.
Are you sure you don't have any experience of Krishna?
I'm not completely sure, but I'm also, I wouldn't say for sure, I have this and that experience of Krishna.
Yeah.
This is little, difficult to state.
Yeah, as you were saying, we were yesterday quoting Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 2. Krishna says, Pratyaksha Bhagamam Dharmyam. So this bhakti is experiential. It can be understood by personal experience. Speaking about personal experience, he will give you personal experience. She, of herself, yeah.
No, I'm really allergic. I'm super allergic.
Surround her.
I'm sorry.
It's funny because they're coming. Where are the owners? She gives the trailer who is coming.
She's announcing.
Yeah. We knew you two were coming. Someone gave us the trailer. Welcome. So how to know we are having an experience of Krishna consciousness, or how we are having an experience of Krishna? And at the same time, as we were saying, right, you cannot measure Krishna. So you can be having an experience, but that experience is not the end of all experience, right? So it's an ongoing experience. So it's a very tricky thing, because you can have an experience of Krishna, but as we say yesterday, the next moment Krishna is already offering a new experience. So if we become too attached to the old experience, Krishna already updated himself. So when I say that we have a direct experience of Krishna, of course doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a vision of Krishna, hearing the flute. That may happen at some point, I'm not denying that, but it's not that only that is an experience of Krishna. No? Like for example, we in our tradition will say, Abhinatvam namanamino. Between Krishna and his name, there's no difference. So if you are having an experience that you can, we are all having experiences at every moment. We cannot deny that. At this moment you are having an experience and I'm having an experience. It may be great, it may be terrible, but it's an experience, right? So of course having an experience of Krishna means contacting the all attractive. Krishna means the all attractive. So the name and Krishna are no different. So for example, chanting the name of Krishna, if you have an experience of the name, like, not to enter into any details, but I've had some experiences, and again, it's not my merit, it's just the gift and the grace of the name in this case. So we have experience with the name of Krishna in Kirtan. That means having an experience of Krishna, an experience that transforms us, touches us, that we feel this was not in my plan to have this experience. I never had this experience, but I had the experience. Now that I remember that was happened once when I was chanting. I didn't even have a Japamala proper, but I heard about the Mahamantra and they were chanting with Japamala, and I live in a flat. I went to the rooftop, was this string where people will dry their clothes and check that nobody was watching. I cut the string, I make some knots. I only get 54. I didn't want to deprive the whole flat of the string for drying clothes. I just took one part. And I was chanting with that string, right? And I had an experience. I cannot even put into words. It was too much, right? And many times the thing for me is that in one sense we are always having an experience of Krishna, and sometimes the knowledge, even in theory concepts, can help us to understand this is also an experience of Krishna. Like for example, now Krishna speaks about him being the wind in the Bhagavad Gita. You're having an experience of Krishna. You may not, oh yeah, you are right. But if we are not properly educated about that or informed, it's like, oh, too much wind. Or you can say too much Krishna. I'm having a Krishna overdose here. No, he speaks about the different phenomena in nature and how he's behind everything. So, in one sense, we are surrounded by Krishna experience. But we need to acquire, as we talk, this a proper sambandha, proper knowledge of relationship and how Krishna is present in this way, in that way, so we can make the link in those moments. Because if not, Krishna may be in front of our face, but we may be looking somewhere else. And as it happens, it's a gradual process, but you see a cloud like that, that's, for an advanced devotee, that's udipana, which means that's a stimulant. Oh, that's Krishna's, reminds me of Krishna's hue, Ganashyam. It's like a dark cloud pouring torrential rain. So it doesn't, because sometimes we over-idealize what does it mean to have an experience of Krishna. And we are already putting Krishna in a box when we say that. And we think that an experience of Krishna has to be just like the highest, most miraculous, extraordinary thing, which can be. But if that's not happening, then I conclude, oh, I'm not having an experience of Krishna. And that's not true. No? Or like sometimes I'm going back to the name of Krishna. No? Sometimes I would think, okay, to have an experience of the name means, no, to experience what Mahaprabhu mentions in the 7th verse of Shikshastakam, Jugayita Nimishina Chakshusha Parisai, no, torrential rain is pouring through my eyes in the form of tears, and it's like, that's the 7th verse of Shikshastakam. No? There's a sequence in that. And you are just jumping into the penultimate stage, which is Prema Bhakti in separation. That's what that verse is speaking about. So my point is, if you think, okay, having an experience with the name means that, but you are not in Prema Bhakti, you won't have that experience. So what's the experience that you may need to have with the name in your stage? Well, probably what Mahaprabhu says in the 2nd verse of Shikshastakam. Durdaiva mitrisham miha janina anurag. I don't have an experience. I don't feel anything. If you feel that you don't feel anything, in one sense you are feeling something. No? We have to begin somewhere. Yeah? Krishna, I feel that I don't feel anything. And because I feel that I don't feel anything, I feel something as a result of that. So that's how we start to feel something. And that's a Krishna experience also, right? So I'm saying all this, again, I don't want to limit what does it mean to have an experience of Krishna, this. And then, oh, if I do not have that, I'm not having a Krishna experience. I mean, we're surrounded by Krishna, and we just need to pay close attention, right?
Can I just take a moment and
Yes.
would you like to put it here?
Here,
Yeah. Okay. Then
Yeah.
yeah, that will be perfect. Thanks.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
That's funny.
Why Kanupriya is laughing?
She's having experience of Krishna.
He's having an experience of Krishna. Okay, you have it? Look. That's how a Krishna experience looks like. It can come in so many ways, right? Like a few years ago, for example, I personally went through the most difficult period of my life. There was so much pain and so much faith crisis and betrayal and suffering with the guru figure. And Krishna entered through that in the most powerful way. So that was also a Krishna experience. And I was suffering terribly. And I was feeling Krishna's presence like almost never before at the same time. So that's very paradoxical again, because you may think, oh, Krishna will happen with me leaping on the air in kirtan only. Also, hopefully, but he can, I mean, he's very creative. Like, he's not limited to, okay, I can only come to your life during your birthday party once in a year, Sunday feast. No. Especially when we were reading the other day this poem by, that was Rumi. No? When I went to a walk with God and I saw him especially paying close attention when someone was crying, his heart was broken. He somehow stay a little bit more time there, right? So that's an important thing for me. It's not that, oh, I'm suffering, I'm going through some pain, some crisis. I have to get away with this so I can have a Krishna experience. No. Krishna's entering through the crack. Not like this famous song, I don't know if Leonard Cohen is famous here, but he will say, there is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. Right? So that's also a Krishna experience. Pay attention to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad, and all these are conversations happening in very complex scenarios. Arjuna is not in his comfort zone in Kurukshetra, precisely. Parikshit Maharaj is not in his comfort zone. You have 7 days to live. That doesn't sound like comfort zone. But that's how Krishna came to them very uniquely, right? So we have to be willing to, how to say, to allow Krishna to give us a Krishna experience in whatever way he wants. You know? Like with Draupadi, Krishna protect me, and she didn't think he will manifest as unlimited sari. But that was a Krishna experience, no? Endless cloth. The Brajavasis in Govardhan Lila went to Krishna, please protect us. And probably the last thing they thought is he will pick a whole hill with his small finger. But that was a Krishna experience. And they were having a Krishna experience. One week non-stop darshan. That's a Krishna experience. But it happened in very unexpected ways. Welcome. Yeah. So for me that's the main thing. How to have a Krishna experience start, but already you're having a Krishna experience because he's everywhere. So how to pay attention, how to be present to that experience. Sometimes we may even feel, oh, Krishna's not with me, Krishna's far from my life. Where are you, Krishna? And Krishna's everywhere. So it's not so much where are you, Krishna, it's where am I? He's everywhere. It's always an invitation to be present to the experience that Krishna is already trying to provide. He's trying to approach me, to communicate with me at every single moment. So it's about trying to listen more. Yeah. That's what's coming today. Maybe you ask tomorrow and a completely different answer will come. But that's what the lake is inspiring today here. And there's this quote by Thomas Merton that I really like. He says, your salvation begins in the most ordinary moments of your daily life. That's powerful. Again, in other words, in those daily moments when you feel the most ordinary, Krishna is there also, inviting you to relate to him. So that's also a Krishna experience in the most unexpected place. That's where it begins many times. Right? It's like a constant discovery. How is Krishna trying to give me an experience of himself today, now? Sometimes the experience comes without us looking, but also there's a part in us that has to do some effort to relate to other person, right? To learn the language of love. Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, Paroksham mama cha priyam. He says, I like indirect speech. I like sometimes when things are not being said directly. I like crooked. He's crooked. No? He's curved in tree. Crooked language. Love moves like a snake. So sometimes it's not that Krishna will be straight. This is like this. No? So he's inviting us to dance along with him. Yeah. And sometimes we don't know. Sometimes it's like, I don't know what Krishna wants to tell me. I don't know. And you have to stay with the I don't know enough time. Yeah?
No, it's the work.
Yes.
Let's try.
Let's give Kanupri a good laugh again. More funny now.
We had rabbits and it remembers me so.
Because this is like the tail of the rabbit. Oh. That's interesting. Not a rabbi, but a rabbit. It works?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that's also interesting, not having an experience of Krishna. Again, we know he's there, we know he's willing to relate to us, but we also feel I'm not having. And sometimes again, that's an invitation to, many times, to let go of what we think it means to have an experience of Krishna. And when we're able to let that go, probably we will have the actual experience that Krishna wanted to give us of himself. And now it's not easy. In the mornings, I many times try to, every morning, basically part of my sadhana is also sitting in silence for maybe 20 minutes and just trying to be in Krishna's presence, Radha Krishna's presence, and not even thinking about them. Because thinking is I'm already putting them in a box. They are like this, they are supposed to be like, just allowing them to be who they want to be for me at that moment. And of course, I'm not saying I do it perfectly. Generally, it's the thinking thing, the boxing, putting. But I think it's a healthy, at least for me, it's very healthy to let go of all the assumptions, all the previous experiences, and just be who I am today for who they are today, and show up for them with that openness. No? And there's always something. If we open, there's something always interesting coming. Many times it's not so much I'm not having a Krishna experience because of Krishna, it's just what's getting in the way of the experience. And many times big part of the question is what's getting in the way, and continue peeling the layers, no, of what gets in the way, and the experience becomes more and more evident everywhere. Yeah. Some thoughts, I hope that helps. I don't know. Does it help?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I personally don't like to give like easy answers, like this is a Krishna experience, there you have it. Next question, no? Because it doesn't work like that. Any relationship, it doesn't work like with prefabricated formulas or something. Yeah. And also other people, right? Krishna manifests for us. It's not just Krishna isolated from everyone else. Remember, everything is interconnected, so I can have a very deep experiences of God in my life through other human beings or other living entities. So I think we have to explore that deeply, each one in our lives, how to find God in one another also. Yeah. Something else?
Today in the morning you said that sometimes we tend to give too much credit to Krishna for arranging everything for us. That kind of stuck with me throughout the day, because
I mean, I don't want to take away credit from Krishna, just in case.
Of course. Just we're kind of in a toxic way. We're just saying everything is Krishna's arrangement. And I've been thinking about that for a while now, actually. And for example, in some ancient philosophies, like the Hermetic school, for example, but also in some new schools that are appearing, the idea of we are actually creating our own reality is becoming more and more popular. That it's not all just given to us, it's not all just happening because somebody's like almost playing a video game from upstairs and just moving the puppets, but we're actually almost, one could say, co-creating reality. What is the Gaudiya perspective on that, in your opinion? Is it complete heresy, or?
No. I will agree with that. It's co-participatory. Again, because if Krishna is the only one doing everything, then free will is an illusion. And it's not an illusion. It's clearly stated in the scripture. We have an amount of agency, and Krishna has his own. So yeah, we are invited to participate in the unfolding of our destiny, so to say, of our life. We have responsibility. Again, for me, many of the things boil down to responsibility, and how many times terrified we are of responsibility or freedom. Like Krishna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita telling Arjuna, as I say, I think yesterday, he speaks the whole Bhagavad Gita like, okay, now you decide what you want to do. Good luck. He's giving back the power. He's not just, okay, I will do everything for you. You are spoiling the child in that case. Now you're creating a dysfunctional family. So Krishna is not a toxic, codependent father or something. He wants his children to be free and think for themselves. Prabhupada will say, we want independently thoughtful people. That means you take responsibility for. So yeah, it's co-participatory. It's participatory. Life is participatory. That's what makes the whole thing exciting. If not, for me, it's disempowering. Now Krishna is doing everything, so I do not need to do anything there. I do not count. He doesn't care for what I do. I do not. No, he's inviting me to a relationship again. A relationship with only one person does everything. That requires therapy or something. That's not healthy. It's both ways, right? So, yeah. In fact, I used that expression myself many times. Maybe some Gaudiya Vaishnava will think that's heresy. Let's be honest. Not everyone agrees on everything in our own tradition, and sometimes we may. Again, sometimes we have like quotes, like, okay, Krishna's arrangement. I'm not denying Krishna's arrangement, but his arrangement doesn't go to the point that we have no decision at all in anything. So it's not like overwhelming, imposing, controlling an arrangement that I'm like, he's interested in knowing. Again, he's asking that to Arjuna. What do you think of what I told you? Give me feedback. So it's participatory. And again, when we embrace bhakti deeply, I mean, Krishna, he puts himself in the hands of his devotees. I can torture quote unquote, with endless verses about how Krishna declares, I'm dependent of my devotees. Aham bhakta paradino hi ashratantra ibaduja. That's a very interesting verse. Krishna is saying, I am the devotee of my devotees. Actually, he says, I have no independence. So now it sounds that he has no free will now. But he's making that in the sense of, I'm controlled by my devotees. Still he has free will, but in love, you become in one sense controlled by the person, but it's reciprocal at the same time. So Krishna is controlled by his devotees, but his devotees are controlled by him, so both are controlled by love. So yeah, Krishna is interested, as we say today in the morning, in lila, in adventure, in voluntary choice, voluntary participation. That's what makes love makes sense, basically. It keeps love coherent. Yeah. There's one part in Bhagavatamrita of Sanatana Goswami, and he's speaking about Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. Nitya Siddha means those who are eternally liberated, which in one sense never chose to love Krishna or something else. No offense meant to them, of course, right? They are eternal associates and we need them as the eternal paraphernalia. But somehow Sanatana Goswami kind of especially praises the sadhana siddhas. I don't want to say above the Nitya siddhas, but gives special praise to them. Sadhana siddha means those who attain perfection by practice, which means they voluntarily chose to love Krishna. So again, there is this element of voluntary choice, participation, and Krishna welcomes that. So, yeah. Agency, in one sense, I'm not saying we create our own reality in the sense that there is no, I don't want to get to a postmodern hyper-subjectivism where I say there's no inherent meaning and purpose in anything and you just made up whatever you want and that's what it is, that's reality. Your reality, my reality, I think I'm a giraffe, I'm a giraffe. No? And you cannot deny that, because if not I get offended and I will denounce you to the... Anyhow, that's another conversation. But, there's a lot of that nowadays. So, there is inherent meaning and purpose in reality, but how we choose to relate to that, in one sense, yeah, we are co-creators of that, along with our connection with Krishna and everyone else. It's like any relationship. You are related to your partner or to whomever, and both are co-creating that particular relationship. It's not me and my mom. Mom, you create the whole relationship, you maintain it, you develop it, and I'm just tasting the fruits of all your arrangements. I love you, Mom, so much. And my mom would say, because I love you, you have to do your part also. It's not only one part. Right? So there's mutuality, relationality in all of existence. So, yeah. If you want to think of me as a heretic, I have no problem. I already received that label a few times. I'm fine with it. 2 hands raised, maybe.
It's regarding this question.
Okay.
Regarding this question.
Okay. You open a can of worms, it seems. How it is.
Pandora's box, no?
Yeah.
If I understood you right, your question, one aspect was also how much power have we to create our own world, because this is, for example, this book, The Secret, and other things. They suggerieren, suggest. Okay, we just have to powerfully think of our vision, and then it will be reality.
I see. Okay.
So how much are we limited by Krishna's...
I see. Okay, I didn't get that layer of the question.
It was part of it, yeah.
Okay, I'm not so familiar with those details. But, of course, we are, that's a whole conversation of, okay, who we are. No? So we are Tatastha Shakti. So by definition, who we are is to be determined. We cannot define ourselves separate from our potential. So we are units of potential. We are who we are plus all that we can be. Okay? Because we are something, but what we are has a potential to become so much more. So when a jiva, when a soul takes, let's put it this way, takes shelter, like Krishna will say in the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas sumam partam daivrim prakritim ashritaha. When the soul takes shelter in the divine nature, which will mean Bhakti or Swarup Shakti, the Atma becomes Mahatma. No? Krishna uses the term Mahatma only for his devotees in the Bhagavad Gita. So Mahatma doesn't mean that the soul is expanded in a physical size. Now it's 2 meters, 3 meters. At one point it becomes like Karuna Sindhu, giant Mahatma. Here you have Mahatma. He has a Mahatma because he has a big body to accommodate such a big. No? He's so big, that means he has a big heart.
Sounds
So.
like speculation.
But the point is, we are units of potential. So if we put ourselves under the shelter of bhakti, the potential of the soul becomes actualized in very unique, wonderful ways. But even without the shelter of bhakti, we hear, I don't know, in the yoga tradition, you practice yoga from certain place and you develop some of these yoga siddhis, and you acquire some considerable capacity to, I wouldn't say create your whole universe like Krishna does, but to, let's say, manipulate nature to a point that maybe many will see you basically like God. I mean, some people will think, oh, you are God, you can bring a tomato from Ecuador being in Berlin. And that's one of the astasiddhis of the mystic powers. You can bring things from the distance. You can change size, become smaller, bigger, different things that, again, if we are not informed about that, in one sense those are material sophistications. They are not inherently spiritual. And somehow we try to emulate all of that through technology. I mean, yoga siddhis are yogic technology, basically. So my point is, there is some potential of developing all that to a degree, but not, of course, to the same degree as doing things that only Krishna can do. That's why when Rupa Goswami says, give 64 qualities of Krishna, he says only the first 50 the jivas can attain to a certain degree, not even fully. And then you have 14 extra that you cannot even talk about it. And some of those are manifesting universes and things like that. So I would say at the end of the day, this thing of creating universes is more for me about stages of consciousness. So if you really predispose yourself to live your life from a very, I don't know, self-centered, like contracted consciousness perspective, yeah, you are creating your own hell, so to say. You're on planet Earth, but you are creating hell as a state of consciousness. And the opposite, of course. If you choose to live your life in a certain way, you are in heaven, you are in the spiritual world. Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. It's not that you are creating Vrindavan, but you are making decisions to put yourself under certain energy and influence that evoke that particular realm, so to say. Right? I don't know if that helps in anything what you are asking. Or you want...
Yeah, there's even one more aspect.
Okay, let's go to that.
So, for example,
Yes.
it's funny, but it might sound funny and it might sound proud, but I could say, okay, this afternoon I announced we go canoeing and the sun will shine. So we went to the canoeing place and suddenly the sun appeared. So I could say, wow, I visualized the sun and it appeared. But I think as a Bhakta we say, wow, it's miraculous. Krishna sent the sun at the right time.
Yeah.
So.
And even if it was raining, that's also meant to happen, right? Yeah. So again, of course, I wouldn't agree. I would not say that we can just. That's what I said yesterday. We were talking about free will. Doesn't mean that I can do anything and everything. So maybe the free will is a tricky expression. That's why I chose to use agency. Because free will, the next question is how free is my will, right? Because it's not like, well, if I want just to start flying in the sky and make the water flow in the other direction, doesn't mean that will happen, right? So I have a free will, but or with you even, I may say, okay, I would like to relate to Hari Vyasadeva in a certain way, and I would like him to react in a certain way, but he has his free will, and no matter what I want, even if I try to develop psychic abilities and manipulate him or whatever, he has strong will. It's not that whatever I want will happen. Because yeah, that will give a little bit, I would say, an exaggerated toxic sense of power and control, and there's a place to acknowledge humbly our reach and limitations also. And some other powers take place at the same time. Not only Krishna's influence, but so many influences at the same time.
Can I say something on this subject?
Yeah, of course.
Because before Krishna consciousness, I was just by circumstances. I was in one group like that, and it was connected with some scientific approach of the reality, let's say. And there were some kind of verses, like kind of poems, something that I cannot even explain. And actually, by chanting those things, you could really change the weather. You could do the things which you like to do. Like, for example, I was smoking some time ago, and I just, by chanting special verses, I give up this just in one day. I mean, immediately, like, boom, I don't need anymore. I was feeling like I was brought by the elevator from the, like, down, boom, like this. But those things, I see it doesn't work for long term. This is what I saw in my experience. Maybe there are more professionals in that, so they can do better. But me, I was feeling like it lasts for some time, and then boom, back. And then the next step was done very consciously with a lot of endeavor. So, but at the same time, I see also in my life now is that, for example, if I am forbidding something to myself internally, subconsciously, then it's not appearing in my life. Otherwise, if I'm allowing myself, just allowing internally that I have a, how to say, I have a, sorry, my English is not so good. I have the,
Someone speaks Russian here?
yeah. Sorry. No, I mean, I have the right, sorry, I just forgot the word. I have the right to have something, for example, and I allow myself internally this, which is not going against, of course, some good, whatever, things in this world, So I just, if I allow myself, I see how it is appearing. It's just like a magic.
Yeah.
This is on this level. I mean.
Yeah, and before going to Corona Sindhu, I was thinking, of course, we have immense, in one sense, we have immense potential that we are not aware how much potential we have. That doesn't mean, again, I can do whatever Krishna can do, but at the same time, I have more potential than what I'm aware of. And many times, and I write about that in my recent book, it's paradoxical because sometimes we are terrified about our potential. Many times just because it's unknown. We don't know how much power we hold. And because we don't know, we are afraid many times of the things that lie in the unknown. So we are afraid of that which we do not know. Or sometimes, like Marianne Williamson has a famous saying that she says that, yeah, we are afraid, most afraid, she will say, not so much of our darkest shadows, but many times about how powerful we can be. Because that somehow contradicts the narrative of how small we saw ourselves for such a long time. So if I really open myself to acknowledge I can have enormous potential, not thinking I'm Krishna or anything like that, but in a humble way, as a devotee, acknowledge the amazing potential of the soul in the brightest direction, that somehow shatters my false sense of identity. That I'm small, I'm this. If I'm too attached to that, I may be terrified about letting that go for this newer prospect, no matter how brilliant it sounds. So that's very paradoxical also, but that happens. Sorry.
Yes, please. On that topic of free will and potential and sambandha as well, like sometimes I wonder how the devotees are like really going into this really deeply. I found a quote of Prabhupada, two quotes actually, today and yesterday, where Prabhupada saying something really amazing. I think sometimes we miss that point. The Prophet saying like we should finish this material life. We should leave behind this life of cats and dogs, and we should go back home, back to Godhead. And he says like, in Krishna's world, you can be whatever you like. And then he gives the examples. He said like, if you want to be like a tree, you can be a tree. If you want to be the water of the Yamuna, you can be the water of the Yamuna. If you want to be a stone, you can be a stone. If you want to be Krishna's parent, you can be Krishna's parent. If you want to be Krishna's friend, he's giving examples like that. You know, like 2 quotes where he says like, whatever you like, right? So sometimes I think, like in general, if you ask devotees, like, what would you like to do? If you go to Krishna, if Krishna comes now and says like, let's go, 10 seconds. What do you want? What do you like? Like, what is your answer? And I see that devotees sometimes they don't have an answer. They don't have a deep answer of like, oh, what do I really would like to serve? How do I like to serve Krishna? My own capacity, like, you know, this empowerment, you know, like my own potential. So, are we missing the point sometimes, or is that
sometimes only?
Many times.
Yeah. I remember, maybe you've read this book, if not invited to do so, by Purnachandra Swami, Unspoken Obstacles on the Path to Bhakti. And he mentions at one point of the book, related to what you were saying, once he was talking to a devotee and he asked her, so which service would you like to do for Krishna?
Yeah.
And she started crying. And he was like, oops, what did I say? Sorry. So he asked, well, why you're crying? Did I hurt you? Did I say something wrong? I said, no. It's that nobody ever asked me what would I like to offer to Krishna. They were always telling me what I had to do, what needed to be done, but I was never like invited to express my will. No? So she was like, oh, you're giving me permission to do that. It's possible. Yeah, what you were saying at the end of the day, and we were talking about that, I don't know, the other day, that it's not that, because some devotees may think like that, I just need to chant my 16 rounds per day, follow my 4 regulative principles, and at the end of this lifetime, and I'm there. But I have no clue how I want to serve Krishna. But I will be magically transferred, and all the information will be revealed to me at the reception department in Golok Vrindavan. Like, okay, you go to department B, you will be a friend of Krishna. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to choose that, and that begins here and now. And of course, it doesn't mean force yourself to pick, okay, Madhurya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya, come on. Tree, water. It's not like a random, it's not like gambling, basically, right? This one.
But the thought is interesting.
But my point, what I take from the quote of Prabhupada is like he's inviting us to invest our will and decide and choose and make the point, you choose. No? It's not already decided. Krishna wants you to approach him voluntarily in a certain way. That's the love that makes sense. If not, it's just predetermined, forced, random. That's not love. That's something else. So yeah. Priya.
Again, it's okay?
Yes?
Yeah. So in our state, does it make sense at all to think what I want to do in the spiritual world? Because isn't it more, what do I want to do now in this stage of my life for Krishna? Because it's.
But why you say the spiritual world and you do like this? Oops. You took the picture with her.
Because I don't see that I could be a stone in the for Krishna.
Yeah.
But I know I.
Yeah, that's why I say it's not just like I have to pick something randomly. It may take time for us to feel something in one particular direction, and it's okay. It's not like, okay, from now to next weekend, please, you all have your spiritual identities in place. It's not like that, right?
So the question could be like, how are we cultivating our spiritual life in such a way that we find it out properly, like really with depth?
Yeah. For that we need the whole 3-week retreat, basically.
Yeah.
Can we come back on that one? Please come back.
I'll be there for that. Let me know the dates and we'll be here.
please.
Appetizer, trailer. Yeah, again, it's not that we begin the practice and already we know, okay, it's here, it's there, it's that. And of course, here comes a whole big conversation related to my first book. Not everyone may agree with that. But my take, according to how I understood the scriptures, is that we do not have already a particular identity of service to Krishna in a particular relationship. That's something we choose. That's how it makes sense for me, and how, for me, Shastra is saying that it's not that you already are intrinsically predetermined as a stone or as a tree or as a Sakyarasa. We have inherent potential for bhakti, but we get to choose. We get to choose first if we want to love Krishna or not. That's free will, right? Because if I don't have that choice, I don't have a choice. So first you can choose: do I turn my face toward Krishna, or do I give my back to Krishna? Those are the expressions of Jiva Goswami. Samukyata. Do I give my full face to Krishna, bhakti, or do I give my back to Krishna? And that's how I understand Prabhupada's expression, back to Godhead. Because that's how it's taken from anyhow, that's another conversation. But we are turning our backs to Krishna, so go back to Krishna means to look in that direction. So, and the scripture will say it depends a lot in general of the bhakti samskars or the devotional impressions that you have received in sadhu sangha. That would probably make you inclined to one particular mood of service or another. And of course, some people may bring those impressions from previous lifetimes of practice, or some maybe begin in this one. But at the end of the day, you choose. Still, the jiva has agency. So I will say, as we practice, as we progress, as we listen about Krishna and his relationship with his devotees, in time, and again, this doesn't need to be like rushed. Like, I need to know my rasa by the end of this lifetime. Not necessarily. In fact, Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in order to experience Bhakti Rasa, to reach this highest peak of divine love, you need to bring some scars from previous lifetimes. So in that section, he's making it clear, this is not necessarily a one lifetime thing. And it's okay. Again, our practice is not about mukti. Our practice is about bhakti. So we have to learn to love Krishna here and now. And in the beginning, we may have a very general idea. Okay, we come to a sampradaya, to a school, which, okay, is focused on Krishna, Radha and Krishna, Vrindavan, a particular mood of love. But also I've met in time, this may be an exception to the rule, but practitioners who eventually feel inclined to worship Narayan in Vaikuntha. Though that's not the specialty of our sampradaya. But somehow they felt, maybe they came from previous lifetimes associated, I don't know, I cannot say it. But if that's genuine, one has to honor that bhakti, or feeling. I have a friend who is a Gaudiya Vaishnava, and she's absolutely into Ram Lila, Hanuman ki jai. She's like, and she made oneself astrological chart, and Hanuman is appearing there, so it's Hanuman all over the place. But she's a Gaudiya Vaishnava, she's fine. It's not like, okay, I know I need to shift sampradaya, because with Mahaprabhu you have Murari Gupta, you have associated with different moods, so there is place for that also. So as I like to say, we shouldn't be racist. Means to be racist in the context of rasa. Right? I'm not mispronouncing. Do not be racist. Not only this is the higher thing, and because I've heard that sometimes devotees like, okay, our tradition is only about Madhurya Rasa, more specifically Manjari Bhav, Radha Dasyam, and whomever feels any other inclination, you are not getting it, sorry. It's inferior. So we start to create this, and again, that's another conversation, but according to many things that Srila Prabhupada said, I will argue a strong case that he has an inclination for Sakya Rasa, to relate to Krishna. He himself said that many times. That's another retreat probably. And that's great. It's not like, oh, Sakya Rasa, not Madhurya Rasa, that's inferior. That's no. Inferior, superior. How can you think in that way regarding divine love? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says every devotee feels the relationship with Krishna is the best, and every devotee is correct. So yeah, at the end of the day, is being open, exposing ourselves to the practice, to association, and gradually in time we may feel some particular inclination. It may take time, and it doesn't need to be a competition. Oh, that devotee told me that she feels that inclination. I don't feel any inclination. I should know which is my inclination. Relax. Right? Again, this is not an ego thing. Who gets first to know their inclination? Just be as honest as we can, and trusting that in time all those things will become clear, and we will be eventually feeling maybe some inclination. We may confirm that inclination in time. Let's see if it's just not like a honeymoon thing of a weekend. It's sustaining in time. I may present that to my guru, to my gurus, to my people I trust, to hear some feedback, and maybe if in time that remains and that grows, well, that can be a sign that there is something to explore there, and there may be special literature that, or kata or whatever, things that focus on some particular thing to nourish that more, and through the chanting and so on. All things are revealed through the chanting as well. Let's not underestimate the power of the holy name, which can give all perfection, right? So sometimes we have to be careful not to think, oh, I need to add all this other stuff for me to actually get to know who I am. I mean, Nam Chintamani, the name is a touchstone that can provide everything, if we have the faith of that. And we should have faith that Nam Prabhu can reveal everything. So I don't know if that helps.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Interesting point.
Yeah. What time is it? 6.
6:30.
So one more hour.
No, we don't have 1 more hour.
No. We have.
You say that we have to go back 6:45.
We don't have to.
What happened?
You can choose where I.
You can choose. We are creating our own universe.
You're creating your own reality.
Something else? And here we are. It can be questions, it can be reflection, thoughts. This doesn't need to be an answer, a question. It can be anything you would like to share. I'm also happy to hear you. I'm not just here to reply to things. I can also listen and whatever.
Yeah, I just have a small reflection from this morning, because this morning you were talking about how close Krishna is to us. And I studied, actually, it's a long time ago, but I studied Middle Eastern studies with focus on Islam. So I studied a little bit the Quran. And there is a verse which is very, very, very nice, and which kind of, it's often quoted by Sufis to show the intimacy of God's presence. And I just wanted to add this. It says, and we are closer to him than his jugular vein. So
than his what?
Jugular vein, the life vein from the heart.
Okay.
So this is it's like God. I just think this is so beautiful, and also that you find it in so different traditions, that God is like nearer to you than your own lifeblood, you know. And I just wanted to add this, that this is in this Sufi tradition also very much quoted.
Yeah.
And at that time also it just touched my heart. And but the question I have sometimes is that, I mean, it's a simple question, but it's still difficult, because if God is so near, so why do I keep searching for him outside all the time? Like, why is it like when he's really so close, Krishna is so close, but I'm still, there are moments where I'm doubting, and I mean, this is a general question, and I think it's there's really no answer. It's just I have to look inside, but I'm just wanted to ask.
What will you say if someone asks you that same question?
You mean like if someone asked me the question of why I'm doubting, or no?
If someone asks you the question that you just asked me.
You did the same today. You asked me back.
I always do that. Of course, I'm giving you back the power back to you.
I asked this question to you.
I will say something, but also
I cannot get. No, I have to. I don't know the answer now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a valid answer. It's fine. I don't know. That's good. Sometimes you have to say I don't know. So yeah, Krishna is very close. Krishna is very intimate. Krishna is inside. Krishna is outside also. I mean, Krishna is everywhere. No? So, but yeah, many times it's difficult for us to, as we were saying yesterday, it may be even difficult for us to believe that Krishna is that close to us.
Yeah.
Still, there may be some unconscious narrative that is, he cannot be that close to you because you don't deserve that. No? Still, that can be, and I'm not saying that's your case. I'm just talking in general, right? Something like, no, that's too close. That's too incredible. That's too beautiful, and you don't deserve that. This type of endings that are not true, but if we have believed them enough, we've heard them enough, they become our truth that needs now to be, of course, dismantled and allow that, yeah, Krishna is the closest of the closest, the most intimate of the most intimate, and he's not far away. No? He doesn't need to be far away. He's not like repelled by us. Sometimes unconsciously, one of the reasons we put God so far away is maybe unconsciously we think he must be repelled by who I am. Because I don't see myself for who I am. I see myself through shame and all these diminishing, disempowering glances. So unconsciously I conclude, yeah, Krishna in the same way I don't like myself, Krishna must not like myself either. So he must be quite far away, at a safe distance from me. But Krishna is saying, nope. I'm far if you want me to be far, but I'm as close as I can be. As close as I can get close to you, there I am. No? And that invites us to be close with ourselves as well. Because Krishna says, I'm in your heart, but we have to get close to our heart. We have to cultivate what I like to call sometimes emotional intimacy. Right? Intimacy with our own inner being. What's going on inside, be intimate with that. Get closer to what's going on there. And now all hands are raised. And we are all in the process of that. It's not that it's not already happening, but it's a gradual unfolding, right? And even in the, how to say, in the not so mature, beautiful, hyper ecstatic stages, still to know that we are on the journey, that's glorious in itself. As I was saying the other day, when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes all the stages of the journey, from the beginning, initial faith, practice, association, to the higher peaks of divine love, in between he describes the unstable chapter of bhakti, anishtita bhajana kriya, no? Instability in bhakti. And he gives 6 symptoms of those. And if I will give those 6 symptoms, probably most of you will raise your hand, yes, I have that one. Number 2, I have that one. We will be like, as we were saying the other day, like in a soccer stadium, everyone doing like the wave. Yes, we have that. Second one, yes. No? Like initial enthusiasm, then loss of that initial enthusiasm, struggling with the senses, struggling to keep our vows. Some blessings comes and we tend to exploit the blessings in a self-centered way. Anyhow, stuff. And those feel embarrassing. It's like, oh, I have that. But those are symptoms of one stage of bhakti called unstable bhakti, but that's still bhakti. So as embarrassing as those symptoms are, they are confirming that you are on the path. Right? that's not the final, most mature stage. But even, oh, I'm struggling to keep my vows. I'm so ashamed of me. Okay, but at the same time, that struggle means that you have acquired some vows in a sacred path. So that confirms that you are on the path. Not to stay there forever, but to learn to celebrate even that, right? So, yeah, I think that's important also. Sarah.
Maybe it was already answered now. Okay, so my experience before I met Krishna, or I got to know that Krishna's name is Krishna, before that name, I had a time where I was in another tradition, and there was a very intense phase where now, looking back, I would say I got a little bit neurotic, and like very intense practice, very much, and that actually in this time this time ended because I felt I fully lost myself, and this what we just named as inner and like this inner being, like being in touch with my inner being, not so much with my outer being, and that was exactly the time when I was in the first kirtan and met also the first devotee, and everything fell into place little bit step by step, and it took a long time to see, okay, do I stick to the old tradition or do I get to know bhakti? But now I'm in this phase, that was 3 years ago.
Now you're getting neurotic in bhakti. No, please, no.
My problem is right now, I feel I can't ever force myself ever. I can't ever force myself to get up at a certain time, meditate a certain amount of something, do some practices in a certain way, because I feel like the moment I do that, I lose something, I don't know, but that also means that my sadhana is pretty unstable at the moment, for the last 2 years actually. And I feel there is still something happening, and I feel actually Krishna is deeply supporting me in becoming more authentic than I ever was. But generally I also feel this, come on, when is it now starting? Now I said, okay, after in 2025 you will then commit at least to a certain vow. It doesn't need to be 16, but at least something. And it's not happening in that way. And I'm a little bit frustrated with myself, although I also don't want to fall back into this, what I already experienced. Do you have any advice for me how to continue?
No pressure intended. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Sarah. Yeah, that's a dance, right? We're using the word dance because, and Rupa Goswami will say this word niyama graha, which has double meaning, 2 meanings. He says niyama graha means I reject all rules, all regulations, and I'm like sheer anarchy, so to say. I do whatever I want. And the other meaning of niyama graha is I follow all the rules mechanically without understanding what they are for. He said both are 2 sides of the same coin, right? So, and of course the idea is the middle path, not the one extreme nor the other. So we are not against vows or against discipline or against, but also it doesn't work in the same way for every person, and the one same person is not the one same person always the same. That was part of our conversation yesterday at the table. Gauravani was asking about some things, and we were talking about vows. And I say something that for some people may sound controversial, which is vows need to be, need to be renewed and in time. Because we are different people. Like, you follow my point? Like, for example, I took the sannyas vow, 16 years ago. So it doesn't mean, I already took that vow, so that it's in autopilot now. My sannyas vows are automatically working in place. I need to renew my vows. It doesn't mean that I'm breaking my vows. It's just like I need to, why I'm doing this, why I took the vow, what does it mean for me to be a sannyasi? In that sense, renewing the depth and the intention. Why? I mean, because I'm a very different person than the one I was when I was 28, right? And I was offered sannyas first time when I was 21. Imagine if I would have accepted that at that time. I mean, I will think I will still be a sannyasi because it really feels my nature, but still, you change so much. So you may still take sannyas at 21 or 28 and 55 in my case, but from very different places, right? And it's okay. So why I'm doing this? No? Or you are married, or you are whatever, this or that. It's a vow, it's a commitment, but you have to rediscover the commitment, renew the vow. And for some people, I'll give you an example, to be honest. I have a friend of mine in Argentina. He is one of my closest friends. We've lived together in ashram for 2 decades, so we know each other pretty well. and when I joined, he was a sannyasi at the time already. He has been sannyas for almost 25 years. And he left sannyas last year, but voluntarily. No, it's not that he had some, I don't even like the word falling down, to be honest, because you never know what's going on inside the person when that happens. Maybe, as Richard Rohr will say, you are falling upward. And he was very sincere to me. I say, I'm live this life sincerely. During this period, I follow all my commitments. And at this period of my life, I feel it's not healthy for me. I need to have some other experiences. And he honored the vow. He put the cloth on the side, so to say, and and it's not that now he's a wild, crazy guy doing nonsense, right? But he just feels to be authentic with himself. He needs to do that. And someone will say he broke the vow. I would say, yeah, if you want to say that, but in one sense, in a deeper sense, I think he's keeping a deeper vow, which is being authentic with himself and in his connection with Krishna. And again, I'm not saying that likely, like, oh, if you're a sannyasi, just no problem, leave the order, it's fine, it's okay, nothing. But my point is that, yeah, at times we need to readjust our vows. So it's good to have, and for every person it was differently. For some people, they really need a structure, and they really need, no? For other people, some structure, but not that structure. No? I think it's healthy to have some basic commitment to a practice, that I show up every day. No? Like every day I have lunch, breakfast, and dinner. I don't miss those. So it's nice to, not to miss my daily date with Radha and Krishna, let's say, in the form of their names, to give an example. If I feel the call to be part of that particular tradition where, chanting is something central. But of course, maybe someone can tell me, and I was talking to someone today about it, but I cannot chant 16 rounds every day. Okay, then try to fix a commitment that is sustainable for you. And grow from that. Again, at the end of the day, it's not the number. Krishna is not asking you a number. He's asking you a heart, right? And some days, they may be emergency days also. Like, to be honest, sometimes that can happen. And Krishna, again, is sensitive enough. It's not like on that day that your wife was giving birth and you had to run in emergency to the hospital, you failed to chant your Gayatri in the midday. Be born as a frog next lifetime. Like, come on. That's not Krishna. That's our traumatized daddy figure we have not healed yet from our childhood, whatever. So, again, I'm not saying this is an excuse to just... But yeah, I think it's a balance and a dance between some fixed commitment, but not, again, from a healthy place. Not like, I have to do it. But I choose to do it. I choose to show up for my beloved. Even when it's some days that I'm not Kijai, life ki jai, sometimes that doesn't happen. But I still try to show up for Radha and Krishna in those moments, and they especially value that. No? Even if it's just showing up with all my vulnerability and sincerity, and as we were saying before, I do not feel anything today. They're taking note of that and embracing you in that moment. Oh, thank you for showing up even without feeling anything. That's unconditional love in one way. You are not showing up only when you are ecstatic. No, you are sharing with us all the weathers of your heart, so to say. Right? So that creates more belonging, more connection. So I think it's good to have that fixed, commitment, again, from that place. Like showing up unconditionally, no matter what. That's from that place, not so much I have to do my number, but I choose to show up no matter what. You follow my point? Externally it looks the same, but it can be motivated from very different places. Right? And if at some time some of those commitments feel difficult to sustain or too suffocating, ideally there should be a place to talk with our guides, mentors, well-wishers, and adjust whatever needs to be adjusted. If it's for the sake of increasing the connection, not as an escape. But sometimes, to be honest, I talk to, and of course I won't give names, but I was talking to a devotee. She told me, Maharaj, now she's in a new phase, but for many years she has been like, you know this mudra, right? I mean, she herself told that. I'm not judging her. I'm just repeating how she introduced herself to me. So Maharaj, for 50 years, or maybe 49, I never failed chanting my 16 rounds. And I was a single mom with my 3 kids, having to work. I wouldn't fail. And with that tone, like, you can get the type of, okay, I'll do it. But now, after half a century of doing that without failing, she tell me, but to be honest, I'm feeling that I'm fulfilling the quota, the number, but I'm not doing that with the quality I would like to offer. Because I have to do so many things in my house that sometimes I'm more in a rush to finish the last 8 rounds. So I feel that what will be sustainable for me will be to chant 8. I could really give my whole heart and presence to that. And it makes more sense to me than just chanting the other 8 while driving and shopping and just to get to the number. And of course, I'm not someone who will tell people what to do with their lives. I was like, okay, so. And she said, well, I want to try that. And she said, for me, it's very difficult, she told me, because I haven't failed for a single day for 50 years. Right? So it gets that type of, no? What happens if I fail the first day? The whole universe will crumble, or again, frog, be a mouse again, punar musiko vav, or whatever. And she did it. And she told me, I haven't chanted such beautiful rounds for decades. And again, I'm not making here a promotion of chant less, don't get me wrong. But you follow my point, hers was a particular situation where she really felt, this is what I can do with full quality and presence. And naturally, if you do it like that, you get an experience that probably in time will get you to chant more. But for the right reasons. That's for me the main thing. Not if you are doing this or if you are not doing this, but whatever you are doing is for the right reasons. You can be a Gaudiya Vaishnava and remain in this tradition for the right reasons or for the wrong reasons. You can remain for position, fame, power, separate interest, agenda, and your heart and your faith is somewhere else. So, how much that's desirable, basically, right? So anyhow, some thoughts. I hope that helps. Thank you. Really, we have an hour? You were lying. We are on time.
Yeah,
I'm getting
the
pretty
Kirtanias
full.
will arrive.
Sorry?
The Kirtanias will soon arrive. So
Yeah, that's why I don't want to transgress the rest of the program.
So tomorrow is another day.
Yeah, we have one more meeting tomorrow morning if there is any other thing to share. So we are going out to Sriva Sangam. Ready to enter Sriva Sangam? We hope to stay there forever in eternity with Mahaprabhu Nityananda. So thank you so much. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Sadhu Sangha ki jai. Kol Pramanam Hari Vancha Kalpataru Vishrab Sindhu Vishwapati Tanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.